Welcome, y'all. My name is Melisha, and I'm a licensed therapist. And today I wanted to answer some of the top questions that I found that people have about meditation. I realized that I've been creating this whole channel, and I didn't really do an introduction to say why I'm doing this in the first place, as well as just talking about why meditation I think is a valuable tool for your mental health arsenal or the different tools that you have in your toolbox for managing your mental health. And so the three questions that I want to answer is, does meditation actually help? Simple question. How long does it take before I see any results? And what if I can't get my mind to quiet down? Does that mean I'm doing it wrong? Those are kind of the same question, but I'll answer these three questions here. And if you have other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them at a later date. Now, so I will go ahead and hop right into it. So the first question is, will meditation really help with my stress, or is it just hype? And the simple answer is yes. Meditation has decades of research. It has been shown to reduce stress, even lower your blood pressure, and improve your emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is just if you haven't, been able to manage intense emotions. I know I've had people say, like, man, like usually I would have responded a lot different to that situation than I did before after using meditation. And I also think it's just a way outside of just like talk, because sometimes talk alone or thinking about something alone doesn't really do it. Because I think historically CBT, or which is cognitive behavioral therapy, it's talking to someone, just like trying to get them to think differently about something. It's not, I still use CBT and I think it's an effective tool if used in the right way. However, sometimes you can't just tell someone something and it changes. Sometimes you need to go a little deeper than just talk. And they say the meditation, it like speaks to your nervous system, which is like, I think of it like the command center of your body. There's a lot of talk about body work, somatics. I don't know if you guys have heard these terms, or if you've heard of the book The Body Keeps Score. It's like a way to go deeper than just your thinking. Like, for example, someone may be afraid of planes. I can tell them, hey, planes are safe. But if they're afraid of it, I can tell them, I can give them statistics and information about it, but sometimes it's just not enough. And so that's why I believe that. I believe it, but there's also a lot of support behind the value of meditation. Now, granted, you might have to find a voice or a type of meditation that works for you. But I believe that guided meditation tends to work for most people, because just like only listening to music or no sound at all, that can be like quite advanced. And some people struggle with that. That's why I think it can be very useful to hear a voice. Now, you might have to play around with if a male or female voice or certain background sounds and different things that work for you. But I'm just creating my version here. And I hope that it helps, at least a couple people, like I know, for example, my own voice doesn't actually work for me, but, I imagine that it might help for some people. So that's why I'm taking the step to make these videos for you all. But okay, I'm going to go on to the next question. Okay, so this next question is, how long do I have to do it before I see results, or how long does it take? Now, this one, it does not have an easy answer. However, I'm going to do my best to give you some information so that I don't just leave you hanging and just say, it depends. Now, so I think something to keep in mind, meditation is like, really asking this question is almost like you asking me, how long does it take to get healthy? Or how long does it take to get smart? Or how long does it take to learn something new? Like, all those things don't have like one answer. Like, it depends on a lot of things, right? However, I will say that I have seen some research that says if you meditate for 20 minutes a day for 1 week, chances are you will see some results. However, if that feels like too much for you, that's okay. You can start small, because even if you aren't doing enough, like, so say, for example, 20 minutes a day, what's that, 20? Oh, shoot, I'm going to have to try to do some math here. 20 times 7, that's 140 minutes a day, which is about a little over 2 hours. 2 hours and 20 minutes, right? If I did my math right. Over the course of a week. But if you start with, say, shoot, you can start with 30 seconds if that's all you got. Like, I know my first video, I said it was a 2-minute video, but it actually ended up being like 1 minute and 40 seconds or something. If you can only manage that to begin with, that's okay, because it's like, okay, I can only do 1 minute and 40 seconds this time, but chances are the next time you'll be able to do it longer. And then the next time you'll be able to do it longer, until eventually you get to the point where you can do 20 minutes, an hour, or whatever. And so it's something that you can kind of build on over time. It also, I think sometimes the effectiveness of the meditation can also depend on how deep or how big the issue is that you're working on. If it's something that has been bothering you for a decade, that might take longer or require more time in meditation than something that just happened yesterday that, it was a little irritating, but you're over it now. So keep that in mind as well. But generally speaking, like it's meditation is kind of like a vegetable or hydration for your mind. And so some is always better than nothing, right? And so it's something that you can start wherever, and it's something that you can build on over time. There's no race or rush to win. There's no ending. It's an ongoing journey of something that you can do over time. So I hope that answers it. All right, let me go on to the next question. Okay, I just thought of a few other things that I wanted to add to this conversation about how long does it take. For one, I mentioned I used a water or vegetable analogy, and I just wanted to emphasize how, with water or with vegetables, it's something that we never get to a point where we're like, "Ooh, I've had enough for my entire life." We always need water. We always need vegetables, and we always need to feed our minds and our nervous systems in a way that helps it to stay healthy. And so think of meditation kind of like that. However, I also wanted to add that meditation does not always have to be you listening to meditation videos. There are many ways to meditate. Meditation could be your prayer life. Meditation could be yoga, a movement meditation. Meditation could be walking. Meditation could be crafting, which is one of my favorite things. Actually, I'm crocheting something right now. And so I just wanted to add that because I don't want people like, I don't feel like listening to these videos all my life. And you don't have to. You can do it in a way that makes sense for you. This is just one way to do it. And I think it's kind of a way to kind of get you started. Actually, my hope and my goal is that meditation becomes a part of your life in one way, shape, or form. And so I just wanted to add that, even meditation, I tend to meditate first thing I wake up in the morning. Like before I get out of bed, I take a few minutes to meditate before I pick up my phone. I just take a moment to be grateful for things. Or at night before I go to bed, I take a moment to think about and lay down all of my concerns and worries. That's a way that I can meditate. So meditation does not just look one way. It's something. It's just a time to settle and not. And I'll address this question next. It's just a time to settle your mind, and that's something that you should do for the rest of your life. Really, like you require care for the rest of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that. So that's all I wanted to add. Okay, and this last question is, what if I can't quiet my mind? Does that mean I'm doing it wrong? And so I do kind of have a simple answer to this. And the answer is that's okay. And it does not mean that you're doing it wrong. Um, because meditation is not necessarily about just stopping your thoughts. I think that's actually a myth that the goal is to just stop your thoughts. The goal is to um, notice your thoughts and not judge your thoughts. And it's just to pay attention to them. Oh, I'm having a thought about this, or I'm having a thought about that. Oh, even the fact of you noticing how busy your mind is, it means that you're doing it right. You're noticing it. Now, granted, you should not be judging the fact that your mind is busy. Um, I think that can be a less effective way, but if that's how it starts, that's okay. It's kind of like if you think about when you first learn to ride a bike, you don't just get on it and you just ride off into the sunset. When you first get on a bike, you're wobbly. It's weird. You don't know what you're doing. You might fall. And so the same thing with meditation. You need to expect that, at first it's a little awkward. It's a little uncomfortable. It's not what it will be after more time and practice with it. Um, and so it's just about doing it or showing up to just be present with your mind and with your thoughts. In fact, I know, was it this morning? Um, I felt some angst in myself. And I just noticed, after sitting there and just noticing the angst that I had, it was like, oh, I just needed to be here with myself instead of running away from myself. And instead of running away from my thoughts and feelings, it's like being present with my thoughts and feelings is actually what made it better than trying to change them. Or some people, I think I've told people, just to think about when you're meditating, think about your thoughts as if they are on a movie screen. You're sitting in the audience and you're just watching them. You're observing them like, be curious about them instead of like, why would I have this thoughts? What's wrong with my mind? Why is it thinking this? Why is it doing that? Oh, okay, I can't do this. And you just walk away. Just be there with your thoughts. And sometimes that's harder. Like it's so simple. It's like, it's the concept is easy. Wait, what is it? It's like, it's easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. That's what I'm trying to say. It's simple, but it's not easy. But all you need to do is just be there with your thoughts or listen to the guided meditation as it guides you through the prompts and just adhere to the prompts. It's just a simple thing. I know it's not always easy, but it really is simpler than you think. And so don't stress if it starts out with very chaotic thoughts. You're just even the fact that you're noticing that your thoughts are chaotic is actually a good thing, because that means that you're on your way to, I don't want to say changing that, because sometimes your thoughts are busy and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes those thoughts need your time and your attention. And by you showing up, that matters. Okay, so this is a bonus question that I'm going to answer. It actually didn't come up in the list of common questions that people ask about meditation, but I hear this question a lot, so I thought maybe I'd just stick it in here too. And this question is, what if I can't stay focused during meditation, or even I keep falling asleep during meditation? And my answer to that is it's completely normal. You are trying to develop a new skill, and when you're in the skill of being present, and so when you lose focus, that means you lose presence of mind. And that's the exact thing that you're trying to combat. And so it's like saying, well, I'm going back to that bike riding analogy. It's like saying every time I get on a bike, I fall. It's like, well, yeah, because that's how it works. That's what happens when you're learning something new. It's not perfect. And shoot, even if you are an experienced rider, actually, I know that there's a bike riding event that I would go to, and these are world-class bike riders, and they would all crash into each other occasionally. So sometimes that happens. It's very normal. What you do when or if that happens is, if you notice that you get off track, like, oh, oops, I just got off track, let me get back on it. You just go back to it. You just get back on the bike and you keep going. If you fall off, get back on. If you fall off, get back on. Don't fuss at yourself or be upset with yourself about it. Remember, the goal is to remove judgment. You're practicing a skill. You're building a muscle. And so be fair, be patient with yourself as you learn this. And also, like I said, I think that's why guided meditations are useful, because it's someone there physically prompting you. And it's like, even if you lose track, you're like, oh, they just helped me stay on track because you heard that voice remind you. That reminder could be like reminders to notice your breathing, the affirmations, or even something that's physically in your hand. And like I said, meditation can also be done while you're doing something physical, like walking or dancing even. And so yeah. And as far as falling asleep during meditation, that also is okay. Now, granted, like, the goal is to be able to do meditation while you're awake, at least sometimes or at some point. But sometimes it's like maybe the meditation helped you recognize that you were actually quite tired. And before that, you probably couldn't really relax enough to allow yourself to just sleep. So that is okay if you do fall asleep. Maybe that's what you needed. However, if you do want to work on staying awake, try meditating while you're sitting up instead of laying down, or changing the time of when you meditate, maybe during the day instead of at night, when your body is naturally just going to fall asleep. But it's something that can just improve over time, but it's not something to stress about. If it happens, it happens. Just try again another time and just allow yourself to sleep. So, yeah. All right. So if you made it to the end, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope that this was helpful. And like I said, if there's any other questions or things that you would like me to address on this topic or other mental health topics, let me know. And I will do my best to make that happen for you. And also, if you would subscribe and like this channel, that would really be helpful. It helps keep me motivated and helps boost my channel so that more people can find it. So until next time, thank y'all. Have a good day or night, whenever you're watching this.